Have you ever wondered why, no matter how much you do, the love you give seems to slip away? Why, even when you are kind, attentive, and deeply caring, that person you desire so much becomes more distant as if your efforts only feed their indifference? What if everything you've believed about love until now was an illusion? A myth that more presence, more attention, and more giving would keep that spark alive? And what if the real secret isn't about doing more, but about understanding the subtle art of creating a temporary absence that speaks louder than 1,000 words? Let me ask you directly, what if the secret isn't in constantly proving yourself or in trying to convince someone of your worth? What if the key to igniting desire lies precisely in the art of absence? In the strategic use of silence, restraint, and space, not as manipulation, but as a powerful tool of the soul. Imagine that love is like a rare treasure. The more you show it everywhere, the less it feels special. But if you learn to master the delicate dance of detachment and involvement, you can create a magnetic field that draws that person back to you naturally, because the truth is, the human brain doesn't appreciate things that come too easily. It values what is rare, what challenges it, what it cannot possess at will. Our instinct is to crave what we don't have: the unknown, the mysterious, the unpredictable. When your actions become predictable, always there, always available, always giving, you inadvertently dampen the flame of desire. Love, when it turns into routine, becomes dull, and routine breeds indifference. And that indifference is what all women fear, but often unknowingly perpetuate by overgiving. This is where the real secret begins, understanding that emotional scarcity, not emotional deprivation, but strategic scarcity, is a potent catalyst for desire. It's about creating a subtle sense that your presence is precious and fleeting, like a fleeting shadow that disappears just enough to leave a memory, a longing, a hunger. And this doesn't require playing games or acting cold. It's about respecting your own space, your energy, and your boundaries, with intentions rooted in self-love, not control. Now, I want you to think about this. When was the last time you truly felt that your efforts to stay close, to prove your devotion, weren't enough? Have you ever noticed that the more you try to be there for someone, sending messages, planning surprises, giving your all, the more invisible you become? It's a paradox. The more you give, the less they see you. It's as if the constant availability eliminates the magic, stripping away the uniqueness that makes your love so irresistible. And here's the interesting part. Real desire, the kind that lasts, is born from a sense of longing, that aching feeling of missing someone. And longing can only grow in the absence of too much. When you are always present, always giving, the other person takes that for granted. They become complacent, comfortable, and eventually lose the appreciation for what you bring to their world. Love that is always there, predictable and easy, stops feeling like love. It becomes familiarity, and familiarity can turn into disdain. So, the first step towards making him truly miss you isn't about disappearing altogether. It's about mastering the art of strategic absence. It's about creating space for your energy to be felt, for your absence to be noticed, for that craving to grow. It's about being a little elusive, a little mysterious, not because you want to manipulate, but because you understand that the heart values what it cannot have all the time. If you are tired of chasing after someone who seems to be slipping further away, if you feel exhausted from constantly giving and never receiving the same level of appreciation, then let me tell you this: the most profound love stories are written in spaces of quiet. It's in the pause that is filled with intention, that true longing is born. And longing is not an enemy. It's the fuel that keeps love alive, the spark that reignites the desire when everything else seems muted. Think of it like a beautiful artwork. When someone admires it from afar, it reveals its layers and nuances. When it's exposed to too much light, it loses its depth. The beauty lies in its mystery, in its subtle shades that invite curiosity. This is the essence of what I am sharing with you today: how to be that mysterious woman who doesn't reveal everything at once, who leaves enough puzzle for someone to want to keep discovering. Now, I want you to reflect on this for a moment. When you constantly show all your cards, there's no space left for the thrill of the chase. Love isn't about one-sided generosity. It's about the dance of give and take, the rhythm of ebb and flow. When you understand that minimalism, or rather, strategic reserve, is what makes the heart grow fonder, you step into a new realm of power, a power rooted in self-respect and authentic love. So, I invite you to ask yourself, are you ready to Embrace this new approach. Are you willing to step back just enough to make him realize what he's missing? Because in doing so, you will stop being an option and start being the choice, a woman who knows her value and refuses to settle for less. When you internalize this truth that love must be a mutual exchange of freedom and respect, everything begins to shift. And if you're tired of feeling invisible, overlooked, or used, know that this shift is in your hands. It begins with you. With your willingness to step into that empowered space. You don't need to be cold or distant, but you do need to be intentional. To create a little space, a little silence, a little mystery. That's where desire is born, in the shadows of what's hidden, the unspoken, the unexplored. Before I move on to the next part, I want you to think about this. Are you ready to take control of your love life with this new understanding? Are you prepared to stop chasing after what refuses to be caught and start building a magnetic presence that pulls, not pushes? Because true love begins when you stop trying so hard and start allowing space for love to find you naturally. Now, if this resonates with you, let me hear from you in the comments. Right, I'm on this journey. I want to know who's ready to apply these principles and to start creating that magnetic energy around themselves. When you do, magic happens. Things begin to change, not because you're playing games, but because you're awakening the true power of your heart and your self-worth. Remember, love is a dance, a mystery, a story written in moments of silence and presence. When you master the art of strategic absence and profound self-respect, you become unforgettable. And that's when love begins to chase you, not the other way around. Imagine for a moment that you are a priceless masterpiece, an artwork of inestimable value. When someone admires a piece of art, they don't need to constantly be close to it, in reach, to desire it. Quite the opposite, the value increases with distance, mystery, and anticipation. The more you try to show everything all at once, the more you dilute the essence, the charm, and the desire. This is a truth few realize. The desire isn't fueled by constant proximity, but by well-timed absence, patience, and space. It's not manipulation. It's understanding the subtle art of creating an emotional gap that speaks louder than 100 words. Did you know that most people, men included, tend to value what's hardest to attain? Think about the little things in life that truly fascinate you: an exclusive perfume you only wear on special occasions, a song that resonates only at significant moments, a friendship that blooms during rare, meaningful encounters. These are everyday examples of how scarcity stimulates interest, preserves memories, and fuels desire. And this isn't a game of trickery, it's an essential understanding of how the human brain works. It seeks what's rare, what challenges it, what's still unknown. If you pause to reflect, you'll realize that often, what ultimately makes someone miss you is what you gave them the chance to lose. It's not about disappearing suddenly or turning cold. It's about mastering what I call emotional hunger, not born from neediness or resentment, but from emotional intelligence that recognizes the right moment to be present and the right moment to step back. When you understand that true connection doesn't come from relentless effort, but from balance between presence and distance, your approach shifts. It becomes a dance where each step is calculated, with pauses and shifts that make each movement more impactful. Each moment of silence, each strategic absence, becomes an opportunity, an invitation for the other person to wonder, to crave, to miss what you've left behind. This idea, which sounds simple in theory, is one of the most profound because it taps into something deeply instinctual within us: the desire for what we cannot fully have. When you become predictable, consistent, accessible all the time, you strip away the excitement, the mystery, the craving that keeps love alive. Routine, no matter how comforting, can easily turn into boredom, and boredom breeds indifference. So, the first step to truly making him miss you isn't about vanishing altogether, it's about learning the art of strategic absence. It's about creating space within your relationship, a space where your energy is felt, where your absence sparks longing, where he begins to cherish your presence even more because he's had to live without it temporarily. It's a subtle, deliberate dance of withdrawal and re-engagement, precision that makes love more magnetic because it leaves an imprint, an echo that lingers long after you've stepped back. And understand this: you are not here to manipulate emotions, but to influence them with mastery and self-awareness. When you stop treating yourself like an option available at a moment's notice, your internal universe shifts. You begin to realize that your love, your time, your energy are precious assets. They are part of your self-respect. And only someone Who truly deserves your space will earn it through actions, not words. Now, think about this for a second. How often do you try to prove yourself? How many times do you send that message, organize that plan, open your heart fully, only to feel your effort dismissed with indifference? Don't you notice that the more you give, the less visible you become? It's an ironic truth that, in trying to be everything, you may be fading into the background. The more accessible you become, the less your true worth is recognized. And here's the key: real desire, the kind that lasts, is cultivated in moments of longing, those sweet, aching feelings that grow stronger in absence. When you're always there, always giving, you make it too easy. And what's easy often loses its value. But when there's a healthy distance, when the presence is deliberate and the absence purposeful, you turn your relationship into an intriguing story and unwritten chapter that invites curiosity and keeps passion alive. This realization is a powerful one. It shifts your entire understanding of love. Rather than overextending yourself, being overly available, and predictably giving, you learn to craft your life with purpose, keeping pieces of yourself for the right moment. It's about vibrancy. It's about being a woman who radiates confidence and self-worth, whose energy naturally draws others inward because they feel that your value isn't something to be taken for granted. I want you to think of this as a beautiful analogy. Imagine a castle built in the sand by the ocean. When you pour all your effort into constructing everything at once, it appears flat, uninspired. But if you leave a little of the castle under the water, or only carve delicate patterns, that beauty becomes even more captivating, visible only to those truly looking, those willing to put in the effort to seek it. This is what emotional connection is about, leaving enough space and mystery so that others are compelled to explore, to discover, to desire. Tapping into this deep understanding, you shift from a woman chasing love to mastering the art of attracting love through subtlety, strength, and self-respect. You become someone who inspires admiration and longing, not because you want to manipulate, but because you understand how true desire is cultivated in the garden of scarcity and mystery. When you walk this path, you're no longer a woman begging to be noticed. You're a woman who knows her worth and knows when to stand back, allowing love to come to her naturally. Before moving forward, I want you to take a moment of honest reflection. Have you ever felt invisible despite your best efforts? Have you ever given your heart completely only to watch that love fade into silence? Remember, real love isn't about constant availability. It's about creating space for longing that feeds the fire. Are you ready to harness this power? Are you willing to learn the delicate art of striking that perfect balance, of making him crave your presence without forcing it? Because this isn't about playing games. It's about understanding how emotional influence works, how love is cultivated when you stop chasing and start attracting, the way a beautiful flower draws bees, not by screaming for attention but by simply existing in its natural elegance. If so, leave a comment now with the words, "I'm on this journey," because the strongest love stories are written in moments of silence, in pauses and spaces where longing begins to bloom. When you master the fine art of strategic absence without manipulation, with authenticity, you become unforgettable. And that's when love begins to return to you, not because you're forcing it, but because you've created a magnetic field of your worth. Remember, the deepest desire springs from your ability to love yourself enough to let go, to leave room for the other's longing. Because when you master that art, everything changes. Love isn't a chase anymore. It's a magnet that pulls the right person to you naturally, effortlessly. Now, envision a woman who has understood this secret, someone who masters the delicate dance of presence and absence. She doesn't run after love or cling to fleeting moments. Instead, she stands firm in her self-worth, creating that subtle space that invites longing without pushing, pushes without disappearing, and always maintains her in a balance. This woman becomes unforgettable, not because she dominates with words or actions, but because she emanates an authentic confidence that makes others yearn to be close, to understand her, and to cherish her. This isn't about playing hard to get for the sake of superficial games. It's about internalizing a profound truth. Love that lasts is rooted in mutual respect, freedom, and appreciation. When you stop being an option always available and start being a priority that is selectively present, you shift from chasing love to naturally attracting it. That's the real magic. It's the quiet power of the woman who knows her real value and refuses to settle for anything less than she deserves. Many women make the mistake of believing they need to constantly prove their love, or they think that being overly available makes them more lovable. But what they forget is that the person who truly values you will respect your boundaries, your pauses, and your space. Because love isn't about total surrender or complete submission. It's about balance, about holding the space for love to breathe and flourish in its own time. When you master this, you stop giving away your energy to those who don't appreciate it. Instead, you direct that energy inward, investing in your passions, dreams, and self-growth. Because the woman who cultivates herself becomes the woman others can't help but long for. You emit an energetic glow that says, I'm worth the wait. I'm worth the effort. And people are naturally drawn to that inner confidence, that authentic worth, that subtle mystery. I want you to remember this. True love is a story written in the quiet moments of reflection, the pauses between conversations, the spaces where longing grows and appreciation solidifies. When you learn to create those pauses, without guilt or fear, you're not pushing love away, you're inviting it to come back stronger. Now, think of this as the ultimate truth. Love that is worth having thrives in freedom, respect, and mutual desire. When you stop trying to chase love relentlessly and instead focus on becoming someone who is inherently captivating, that love will seek you out naturally. It's about becoming a woman who is so rooted in her worth that love is a natural consequence, not a desperate attempt. And here's the most beautiful part. This magic isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's a skill, a choice, a mindset that can be learned and cultivated by anyone willing to embrace self-love, patience, and strategic silence. When you stop giving everything away at once and learn the art of withholding love at the right moments, you create an emotional environment where longing and appreciation flourish, a garden where love can grow slowly but deeply, craft with intention. I want you to imagine yourself in a few months from now, embodying this new version of yourself, confident, quiet, and magnetic. You no longer chase after love or begging for crumbs. Instead, you stand tall, radiate self-worth, and let love find you. Because the most profound relationships aren't built on need or desperation, they're built on mutual respect, space, and longing. So, I challenge you today, are you willing to stop overgiving, to start filling your own life with purpose and joy, and to cultivate that magnetic energy that naturally attracts true love? Are you prepared to step back just enough to make him realize what he's been missing? Not by pushing him away, but by allowing him to seek you. If this resonates with you, take a moment right now. Write in the comments below, I choose myself. First, because that's the real secret, loving yourself enough to let go, to create space, and to trust that love will come when you stop waiting, chasing, and pleading. Remember, real love isn't about how much you give or how available you are. It's about who you become when you prioritize your self-worth. When you embrace this truth, you step into your power. You become the woman who doesn't chase love, but lets love chase her by becoming the most irresistible version of herself. Finally, never forget, love is a story of mystery and patience. When you understand that the quiet moments, the pauses, and the space are what truly make desire grow, you're no longer a woman longing for validation, you're a woman commanding her destiny. You're the one shaping love into a reflection of your worth. So today, start practicing this. Practice the art of creating space, of embracing silence as a tool of attraction. Because when you do, you ensure that love, authentic, profound, and beautiful, not only finds you but also stays with you.